Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Severe weather sweeps across Bexar County and the surrounding area. A look at the last night's damage and what more we can expect later on today.
All states have now eased some form of social distancing restrictions, even as experts warn of a possible second wave. I'm Inez de la Cuetara in Washington, and I'll have all the details coming up.
And as we take you outside, it's not raining right now, but Sarah Spivey's in, and she said what we had last night we could see again tonight. She's got details.
And good morning. It is Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day Monday.
It is Memorial Day, and it's a day for us to take a moment and just remember the memories of all of those who have given their ultimate price for our freedom. And I love how you are so patriotic with your red, white, and blue.
Want to support everybody who
died, who gave their life for our country.
Gave their life for our country.
So this is the day that we do. We say thank you and honor all of them. Now, those storms last night,
Wow.
If you slept through them, I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't sleep through them. We were looking at tornado warnings around San Antonio, mainly because of very strong wind gusts. And we had wind gusts potentially of up to 80 to 90 miles per hour around San Antonio.
And that can do a lot of damage.
It can. Doesn't matter if it's a tornado or straight line wind gusts. You do not want those. Here's a look at last night's radar. This is just a quick little snapshot here from about 8 to 10 o'clock in the evening. And those red boxes that you see on the northwest and northern side of town, those are tornado warnings. Now, while we haven't had any confirmed tornadoes, the wind gusts were strong enough. And coming up, we're going to look at some pictures of some of the storm damage that you sent in through our KSAT Connect app. But thankfully, things are much calmer out there this morning. All of the rain has pushed off toward the Houston area, and it's not severe at the time, but we are still seeing gusty winds in the wake of this storm and cloudy skies as well. Taking a quick check of temperatures, it is a nice cool 66 degrees in San Antonio behind the rain, 63 at Rio Medina, 63 at Bernie Stage Airfield, 62 in Comfort, and 62 in Kerrville. Now, today's forecast is going to be a bit interesting. During the day, we could still see an isolated shower or storm, but you still should be able to go out and do any kind of Memorial Day activities. Just know that you're going to want to keep your weather app handy because there is going to be a chance for isolated storms during the day. 86 for the high temperature under mostly cloudy skies. But you're seeing that right. There is a very high probability of some storms later on tonight, and some of those storms could be on the strong or severe side. So we have got a lot to cover in the forecast. We'll look at some of those damage pictures from last night, and we'll also talk about the risk for storms later on tonight. As I was driving into work, there was quite a bit of ponding on the roadways from nearly 2 inches of rain that we saw officially at the airport. We're going to go ahead and check right now with Officer Marcus Trujillo. He's going to check a look at the roads. Do we have any main problems or road closures to talk about?
Not yet. However, that could be coming. Now, right now, as we take a look at the roads, the one thing that I noticed different from this morning, even from other mornings where a lot of folks have the day off, as we take a look at TransGuide, not a lot of traffic. It seems a lot of folks after last night just decided just to stay put and stay in place. Right now, this is 3735 here, the downtown vicinity. You can see north and southbound lanes moving cautiously in both directions. I-10 and Bernie Stage Road, just a handful of vehicles out on the roadway. No one there. I-10 at Ralph Fair Road. Moving over to 21 and Winding Way, you can see considerably less traffic, 3 or 4 vehicles in each direction. And like I said, even for a holiday, this is light traffic. However, we're going to keep an eye on everything. If anything develops, we'll bring it right to you. David?
Thank you, Officer Trujillo. Meanwhile, over 6,000 people are without power this morning. If you are experiencing a power outage as a result of those heavy rains and winds, we've got a tool available on our website for you or somebody you might know that's without power. You can track your outage using the CPS map. It lets you know the estimated restoration as well as how many people are without power around the city. Just visit KSAT.com and it's on our homepage.
We were able to sleep during the storm last night, which we don't know how. We do have a recap of all the action. Here are some of the pictures and video from the storm. Parts of homes were destroyed, roadways flooded, lightning filled the sky. Just ahead in our newscast, meteorologist Justin Horn will show us some of the damage done on Palomino Pass.
And this morning, a woman suspected of drunk driving after she hit a utility pole overnight. San Antonio police say it happened around 12:15 this morning on East-South Cross. According to officers on the scene, the woman drove into the utility pole, bringing down some power lines with it, and then rolled over. Fortunately, she suffered no severe injuries after being checked out by medics. She was tested to see if alcohol was in her system.
Turning now to the coronavirus coverage and latest numbers for Bexar County. Mayor Ron Nierenberg revealed there are now 2,442 cases. Unfortunately, our streak of no local deaths has ended. The announcement of 3 additional losses brings the total to 69. Those deaths, a man in his 50s, a woman also in her 50s, and a man in his 90s. All 3 died at Methodist Hospital. Countywide, 79 people are hospitalized, 41 in the ICU, and 20 on ventilators. Excuse me.
For the state of Texas, health officials say there are 839 new cases of the virus. That brings the new total to 55,348. The true number is likely higher because many people have not been tested, and studies suggest that people can be infected and not feel sick. The Texas Department of State Health Services said Sunday that the number of deaths in Texas increased by 13 for a total now of 1,519. Meanwhile, as the U.S. death toll nears 100,000, new concerns this Memorial Day weekend about social distancing.
Across the country, people have been swarming beaches, pools, and churches. Some states are seeing an increase in cases. ABC's Inez de la Cuartera is in Washington with the latest.
Overnight, new images of crowds coming out in droves for the holiday weekend, but many not following social distancing guidelines. In Southern California, a popular hiking trail forced to close after large crowds showed up. In Ocean City, Maryland, thousands flocked to the boardwalk, some without masks.
It's really crowded. It's beautiful out. You know, it's fun. Everybody's having fun.
At the Jersey Shore, business owners happy to reopen.
It's insane on how many people are out here today. Yeah. I didn't expect this at all.
Aerial images from Florida showing people swarming Daytona Beach.
There's 2 people out the sunroof throwing money.
Police referring to the scene as a gauntlet.
This type of behavior is unacceptable. We don't want people coming to our city, disrupting our city.
Many places of worship also reopening for the first time this Sunday. Congregants sitting apart at this church in Alabama.
I talked with my deacons, and they agreed that we felt like that we could do this safely, and that it was a good and it was the right thing to do.
With all 50 states now easing some form of social distancing restrictions, at least 8 are seeing an increase in new reported cases. In Santa Cruz County, California, new concerns Mother's Day celebrations may have contributed to a 20% spike in cases. And in Arkansas, officials say a high school pool party led to a second spike. And New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing professional sports teams can return to their facilities for training. This as Major League Baseball, the NBA, and NHL continue discussions with their players' unions about resuming their seasons. Inez de la Cuartera, ABC News, Washington.
San Antonio will get another special flyover today in honor of Memorial Day.
This time, World War II airplanes will fly over the Alamo City.
Sarah Costa joins us live now from home with how you can watch this and what you can expect. Sarah.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, David and Leslie. Yeah, they're going to be 4 World War II airplanes flying over San Antonio today. They're going to be flying for 30 minutes, and that's going to start at noon. The city teamed up with Lewis Air Legends to put on the display. The planes will start near Interstate 10 and Loop 1604, then head to Kelly Field. The aircraft will take a full circle from the south side to the east side and then downtown. We'll also take 2 rounds above downtown, the Pearl, before heading to Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. Those watching are encouraged to practice social distancing. And of course, if you head to KSAT.com right now, you can see all of those flight patterns and all that information right now online. Reporting live from home, Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. David and Leslie.
And I should mention to you that weather could be a factor in that today. Sarah is going to give us an update on how it could potentially have an impact.
And you'll have a better shot at getting pictures of them because they don't quite fly as fast as the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, you got to be quick with those Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
And our photographers, wow, they did a great job.
So these guys will be a little slower than the Thunderbirds.
They're so fun to watch, though.
It'll be great. 439, 66 degrees.
Yep, 66. Camps in some parts of the country are taking a big online leave after the coronavirus forced them to temporarily close down. Details on that coming up.
Plus, a warm welcome after risking her life on the front lines of COVID-19. How this local nurse was surprised by her friends and family next on Good Morning San Antonio.
And right now, taking you back live outside with live cam. Boy, those storms, they were something else. But again, we could be under the gun once again this afternoon, this evening. We'll check in with Sarah, see if that is going to affect those flights.
A San Antonio family gave their mother, who is a registered nurse, a warm welcome back surprise.
It happened right outside her hotel after she spent nearly 50 days helping an overwhelmed hospital in New York City during the pandemic.
Erica Brera left for one of the epicenters on April 3rd, where she worked in a hospice unit. There she says she helped families say goodbye to their loved ones who passed away from COVID-19.
Well, she came back to San Antonio Friday, and her family, whom she missed dearly, decided to write inspiring messages, get balloons, and line up in the parking lot of her hotel with a big welcome back.
Brera says she is glad to be home, but she hopes her experience inspires others.
We're so grateful to all of our frontline workers.
Great experience. I mean, and for her to put her life on the line and travel somewhere else to do that.
To do it. A lot of
great.
Healthcare professionals went to New York because they were so overwhelmed, and what a wonderful thing.
They felt the calling. Appreciate that. 443, 66 degrees.
Still ahead, summer camps are getting creative. How they plan to take the leap into the online world. Welcome back, everybody. Your time now is 4:46. With summer camps closed across the country, some of the fun is going virtual. ABC's Deborah Roberts has details in your GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, virtual summer camps. While it's business as usual for camps in some parts of the country, others are taking a big online leap. The Boy Scouts of America now organizing a computerized Scout Fest. And the Coding Space, a New York-based STEM camp, is breaking down into morning and afternoon sessions.
The students will do an hour-long project-based coding, then a 30-minute activity that doesn't require them to remain in front of the computer, like a scavenger hunt.
The move virtual, offering camps a chance to connect kids across the nation.
Rather than just being a New York City-based camp, we're now able to offer our experience, all over the country and even all over the world.
So is the virtual camp experience worth the cost? It's all coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Deborah Roberts, ABC News, New York.
And as you may have heard, severe weather swept through San Antonio and the surrounding area last night. During the midst of it all, our team was able to get us a look at the action. Meteorologist Justin Horn shows us some of the damage done in Palomino Pass.
Scary moments Sunday night as severe storms pummeled the west side of San Antonio.
As soon as we got to our pantry and pulled the door closed, it sounded like an explosion happened.
Sisters Sarah and Sydney Moreno hunkered down in their pantry, scared that a tornado was bearing down on their home.
And then when we finally came out here, when the rain kind of stopped, we saw that our neighbor's house was basically gone.
Emergency crews were quick to the scene and spent the night assessing the damage. It was significant. Parts of roofs were missing, while a fence post could be seen lodged into the side of this home.
We have stuff that doesn't even belong to us in that yard. We have chairs here, some shoes. Yeah, we have a shoe in our backyard too.
While the Moreno's home seemed to be in good shape, neighbors reported damaged walls and shattered glass, and some were forced out of their homes.
They're moving right now. They're moving all their stuff because their second floor is just flooding right now.
Again, a lot of that damage along a road called Palomino Pass here in the Wild Horse subdivision. There is a lot of damage here, and crews are still assessing that damage, and they'll be doing a lot of cleanup, especially tomorrow when the sun comes up. Thankfully, we're told, at least at the moment, there are no injuries associated with this. Reporting on the west side, Justin Horn, KSAT 12 News.
And that's the best news, is that we don't really have any injuries to report at the moment, even in spite of the fact that there were some high water rescues last night, too.
Oh, please, when we get into those high water rescues, your heart just goes out. And sometimes this rain comes down so fast, it really isn't always the driver's fault.
Well, exactly. And the thing that I'm really cautioning people about is that we could have another round of strong to severe storms tonight as well.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, the best thing to do is to have the weather app handy, because we actually go live on the weather app, even if you lose power. So,
what do you think about the World War II airplanes flying? Do you think it's going to be an issue?
I think it should be okay because we really are only expecting isolated storms today during the daytime. It's really the evening that we'll see more of the action. And speaking of the evening, I do want to show you last night's storms. This is a radar loop. I'll call it a radar rewind, if you will, of last night. And you can see those storms really started on the out toward Uvalde, Medina County, right around 6 to 7, and then they just formed a line, and it was right along the leading edge of that line that we saw those damaging wind gusts. In fact, I zoomed in here to northern Bexar County, and these red outlines that you see, that's those tornado warnings that were in effect between about 8 to 9 p.m. in areas just north of downtown San Antonio. Now, no confirmed tornadoes at the moment, but as Justin showed you, the damage is there. And really, honestly, straight line winds can sometimes do as much, if not more damage than a weak tornado. So just because it doesn't have the name tornado, that doesn't mean that it's not a dangerous storm. In fact, here's a look at some of the storm reports in the area. Anywhere you see these trees, that's where we had damaging wind reports. You can see damaging wind report up toward Scenic Oaks area, and even some flooding, like I said earlier, reported of some high water rescues late last night because we had quite a bit of rain. I'll show you the rainfall totals in a bit, but that area that Justin was at is right there along 1604 in that Wild Horse subdivision. Significant wind damage to a home on Palomino Path, windows broken, much of the roof gone, fence posts stuck in a wall, and of course this was between about 8 to 9 p.m. Here's a picture sent in through our KSAT Connect app. You can see that fence post stuck in the wall there and parts of the fence blown off as well. Roof shingles and winds busted too. So very damaging storms last night in some places around Bexar County, noisy elsewhere, and a lot of rain as well. Here's a look at measured rainfall. Not a ton of rain west of San Antonio, except for at Rio Escondido, where about a little bit more than 1.5 inches was reported. Nearly 1.5 inches in Pearsall and Cotulla as well. At the airport officially, just under 2 inches of rain. 2 inches of rain for Chavano Park, for Friedrich Park, and for Bernie Stage Airfield. 1.5 inches out toward New Braunfels, 2.5 inches towards Seguin. Very healthy rain, but unfortunately, this has saturated the ground. So any additional heavy rain will likely lead to some flooding issues, and we've got the chance for that tonight. Good thing is this all fell along the Edwards Aquifer, so we are going to continue to see that rise, and that's good as we head into the dry months. Temperatures outside right now in the wake of the storms, relatively cool because of rain-cooled air. 66 degrees in San Antonio, 63 in Bandera, 62 in Kerrville, and it is quiet right now on the radar. We are not seeing anything around the KSAT 12 viewing area. Here's a look at the Futurecast for today. You can see what I mean. 1 or 2 isolated storms may be possible during the daytime, but other than that, it's going to be a warm day. Not too hot, not too cool, but it will be humid. 86 for the high in San Antonio for Memorial Day, 86 out toward Del Rio, in the 90s toward Laredo. Then our attention once again turns to tonight. Low pressure system that brought last night's rain working its way off to the east. But guess what? There's another one, and it's going to approach, and it's likely going to be bringing us another chance for severe weather. We're under a slight risk for severe weather tonight. As far as timeline goes, here's what I'm thinking. I think probably between the hours of 7 to 9, we'll start to see more on the radar, making it to San Antonio between 9 to 11 in the evening hours, possibly even earlier. These things are tricky when it comes to timing, but the biggest thing you should know is in the evening, you need to be paying attention to the weather. Once again, we'll be concerned about damaging wind gusts and flooding as the main concerns. So for your Memorial Day, just to wrap everything up, sprinkles out there right now, isolated rain in the afternoon under mostly cloudy skies, 86 for the high, and then tonight, get ready to pay attention to storms again. You can do that by downloading the KSAT Weather Authority app. Last night, Adam Caskey, Katie Blake, they were live covering the severe weather threat, and we'll be live again tonight if we need to. Looking ahead to next week, another active weather pattern by the end of the week. We're going to take a quick check of the roads with Officer Marcus Trujillo. So far, no problems, right, Marcus?
So far, no problems yet, Sarah. We're keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully everybody will stay home, stay put. Right now, no accidents on the highways. And somewhere down there's Lackland at Highway 90. As you can see, there are lots of areas of San Antonio, as David and Leslie mentioned earlier, still without power. So if you are venturing out, make sure you use caution. Some of those street lights may not be working. So both hands on the wheel, put away those distractions. 410 at 151, no issues there. And 281 at Winding Way still have extremely light traffic. David and Leslie.
Thanks, sir. It is now 4:54 and still 66 degrees.
A movie on Netflix turning out to be a big hit. Up next in your Spotlight News, the millions of people who have streamed it.
John Wayne and a tractor have a baby, and all you can say is nice.
Jon Stewart's political satire, Irresistible, is the latest movie foregoing a theatrical release for a streaming debut as we wait for COVID-19 lockdowns to end and the theaters to reopen. Initially scheduled to open this coming Friday, Irresistible will now be available on demand June 26th.
In 48 hours, we've lost 7 ships.
Sony last week revealed it'll debut its Tom Hanks World War II naval drama Greyhound on Apple TV+, also foregoing a theatrical release.
All the Willoughby children ever wanted was to have a normal family.
Netflix says it has a hit with the Willoughbys. The animated family film was reportedly watched by 37.6 million households in the month following its April 22nd debut.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
43 years ago Monday, Star Wars, later dubbed Episode 4, A New Hope, opened in theaters nationwide. And Mike Myers is 57 Monday. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Christopher Watson, ABC News.
Austin Powers is 57.
43 years ago, Star Wars? Really?
I know.
43 years ago?
That's what they said.
4:58, 65 degrees. Wow.
A new warning from the CDC about aggressive rats. Ew. Still ahead, while you may start seeing the rodents more than usual.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
A man dead after an intense chase with Bexar County deputies, what officials on scene say led up to the unexpected death.
Plus, the latest travel ban as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Details on the restrictions imposed by President Donald Trump overnight.
And another look outside with live cam. We've been talking about it this morning. Severe weather just came roaring through San Antonio last night. Will it happen again tonight? Sarah's got your forecast coming up. And good morning. It is Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day Monday.
Take a moment today, everybody, to just think about all of those who have given their lives for our country. I know there's a nationwide moment of silence at 3 o'clock, and I believe that's wherever you are, so it'd be, I think it's 3 o'clock Central Time as well.
So that'll be good to pause for a moment.
Yeah.
Remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Last night, bam!
I know, those storms were something else. Woke me up.
Who slept?
But I didn't get any damage at my house that I've seen, at least this far. Marcus is over there going, I did. He slept through it. But we might have another chance of this again tonight, Sarah?
Well, that's exactly right. And I know we mentioned Marcus briefly. He was in that area that had those damaging wind gust potential. And he said his neighborhood definitely shows signs of damage with downed fences and downed trees in some places. We do have another opportunity for storms tonight. And unfortunately, it does look like those storms could be on the stronger to severe side as well. But all is quiet on the radar at the moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the radar. And you can see that all the storms that moved through last night have pushed off to the east. They're now currently affecting the Houston area, but are not severe at the moment. This is a look, though, at last night. Between the hours of about 7 to 9 p.m., that's when we had the strongest, most severe weather. And then after that, we were concerned about flooding issues. This is up in Leon Springs, sent in by Mike Jones through our KSAT Connect feature on our weather app. You can send in your pictures there as well. He said possible strong straight line winds or a weak tornado in Leon Springs. I'm inclined to believe straight line winds because of the nature of how this fence fell over. But this is just a sobering reminder that straight line winds can be as damaging, if not more damaging, than a tornado. So we're going to have the chance for more damaging wind gusts tonight. But most of the day today is going to be quiet. So if you have Memorial Day plans outside, you'll still be able to enjoy them during the day. It's the evening that we'll have to pay attention to the weather. Outside right now, we've got some rain-cooled air. So it's 65 degrees at the airport, 61 in Kerrville, 64 in Hondo, 67 in Del Rio. And for your Memorial Day forecast, around 7 will still be at 65. You may run into a couple of sprinkles. We'll have mostly cloudy skies during the day, a chance for isolated storms, about 30%. So again, not a strong chance during the day, and a high in the mid to upper 80s, winds from the northeast at 5 to 10. It's tonight that we'll be looking at the potential for storms. And here's a quick check of your storm timeline. Right around 7, storms will develop. You'll start to notice them on the radar. But between the hours of 9 and onward, we'll have possibly severe weather with heavy rain. The ground is soaked, saturated with more than 2+ inches of rain in places. That could lead to some flooding issues. Then by the morning tomorrow, we'll start to see those storms die off. But coming up, I'll have another look at some more pictures from last night's storms and, of course, what you can expect tonight as well. For now, we're going to go ahead and check in with Officer Marcus Trujillo. He's got a look at the roadways, which for the moment look okay.
So far, so good. As we take a look at the map, no accidents, and that's the great news. We did have some activity overnight. All that's been cleared up and is out of the way. So as we take a look at the map, you can see no indications that anything as far as the roadways will slow you down, other than in certain areas, like right there, Highway 98 Lackland, you see no lights. And in some of the neighborhoods, there are no lights right now. So remember, just tread cautiously. There could be some debris in the roadway. Both hands on the wheel, put away those distractions. 35 to 604. So far, no issues there. And then Twitty and Tacoma, north and southbound lanes, still running smoothly. Leslie?
All right, thank you very much. If you're experiencing a power outage as a result of those heavy storms and winds, you're not alone. About 6,000 people are without power this morning. We do have a tool available on our website right now. You can track your outage using a CPS map. It lets you know the estimated restoration as well as how many people are without power around the city. Just go to KSAT.com. It is on our homepage.
Right now, San Antonio police investigating a triple shooting that happened around 2:45 at the 5400 block of North Foster Road. That's on the northeast side of town. Investigators are still trying to figure out exactly how it happened, but we do know that it started as a disturbance. 2 victims shot several times. The third shot in the leg. They were all rushed to the hospital. Max Massey is following the story. He will have the latest for us in a live report a little later on in our newscast. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar said a man wearing only boxers and boots pulled out a handgun and shot himself as deputies pursued him last night. Deputies tried to pull the man over near Farm Road 78 in Walsham. Salazar said the suspect pulled over but quickly abandoned the car and started running. The man eventually got back on the shoulder lane of Farm Road 78, pulled a handgun out, and then shot himself. The man has not yet been identified.
Well, Bexar County deputies are asking for your help this morning after a 27-year-old woman died following an apparent domestic dispute and stabbing. It happened on Cry Trail on the far west side. Witnesses say the victim jumped out of a moving black SUV, was found with several stab wounds to her chest, and she bled to death. While deputies were on the scene, on their way to the scene, they learned that the same SUV was involved in a crash. Deputies later found the 27-year-old suspect in a nearby home. He was taken into custody. The relationship between the two is unclear, but we do know they have kids together. The suspect is facing property damage charges and murder. Call 210-335-6000 if you have any surveillance footage that could help this investigation.
President Donald Trump barring travel into the United States from Brazil, one of the hardest hit countries in the pandemic.
The ban takes effect Thursday and does not apply to American citizens or permanent residents. ABC's Inez de la Cuetera has details.
Overnight, President Trump imposing strict travel restrictions on Brazil, where cases of COVID-19 are surging. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, Brazil has more than 363,000 cases, ranking second for most cases worldwide, only behind the United States, now surpassing 1.6 million. The White House saying in a statement they are suspending the entry of aliens who have been in Brazil during the 14-day period before seeking admittance to the United States. Before the announcement Sunday night, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien hinting that the restrictions were coming.
We hope that'll be temporary. But because of the situation in Brazil, we're going to take every step necessary to protect the American people. We'll take a look at the other countries on a country-by-country basis.
Cases of coronavirus are surging across Latin America, including Mexico. ABC's Ian Panel is in Mexico City.
Latin America is now the new global epicenter of this pandemic. Here in Mexico, we're seeing record numbers of cases. In fact, we've just seen the highest number of deaths being reported, but some controversy over that tally, with some suggestions by an independent research group that the real number could be as many as 3 times higher. As in many other cases, we're seeing hospitals and morgues nearing capacity.
In the meantime, President Trump repeating his mantra, America must reopen.
We did the right thing, and now we're doing the right thing by getting it going, getting it open. We have to open.
And President Trump will participate in a number of Memorial Day ceremonies today, including a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery and another one at Fort McHenry in Baltimore. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home, as the city of San Antonio will observe Memorial Day today, there are a few closures to keep in mind. City Hall and most municipal offices will remain closed. Animal care services, Metro Health clinics, senior centers, and the City of San Antonio Community Center will not be open. However, recycling, garbage pickup, firefighters, EMS, and police will be on duty. It's 5:10. It's 65 degrees.
You might be seeing more rats than usual, and aggressive ones at that. Up next, a warning from the CDC and what they believe is triggering it.
And outside with live cam, maybe calm right now, but this is calm after the storm and maybe calm before the next storm.
One. Yeah, we got some more severe weather in the forecast.
The CDC has a new warning for the public about what they are describing as aggressive rats.
Ew! Officials say it's because rodents desperately rely on food and waste from restaurants.
But with restaurants limiting capacity and hours of operations, experts believe their behaviors could become aggressive or unusual due to the decrease in their food supply.
Well, the CDC says you may start seeing more rats than usual as they search for new resources. For tips on how to keep rats from your home, head to KSAT.com.
Ew, is right.
Well, and Sarah said she saw one coming in today.
Really?
Yes.
Looking for breakfast. 5:14, 65 degrees. Don't feed it.
Samsung seems to be going bigger. Coming up, the latest on the new Galaxy Note 20 Plus and what it has against the iPhone 11 Pro.
Overcoming intense obstacles in her life. Coming up next on GMSA, we'll introduce you to today's great graduate.
In this time of social distancing, when taking a break from everyday life is critical to everyone's health, there is one thing we can all do together: complete the 2020 census. Your responses are critical to plan for the next 10 years of healthcare, infrastructure, and education. Let's make a difference together by taking a few minutes to go online to 2020census.gov. It's for the well-being of your community and will help shape America's future.
Need better sleep? Try Nature's Bounty Sleep 3, a unique tri-layer supplement that calms you, helps you fall asleep faster, and stay asleep longer. Great sleep comes naturally with Sleep 3, only from Nature's Bounty.
It's Macy's Memorial Day sale with 25 to 50% off fresh summer styles for the whole family. And buy one bra, get the second half off from Vanity Fair and more. Plus, Star Rewards members can earn rewards even faster during Star Money Bonus Days. Going on now.
In today's Tech Bites, it appears Samsung is going even bigger. Reports say one of its next phones, the Galaxy Note 20 Plus, will have a 6.9-inch screen, more than an inch bigger than the iPhone 11 Pro. No word yet on a release date, but Samsung typically unveils new phones in August, with availability a few weeks later. Virgin Orbit is going to try again today to test its satellite launching system. The plan is for a 747 to take a rocket up to 35,000 feet. The rocket will take the payload the rest of the way onto orbit. The advantage is the launch can start from any airport big enough to handle a 747. And say happy 40th birthday to Pac-Man, the power-pilled chomper, and his 4 ghostly chasers hit the scene in May of 1980 to celebrate. A special edition of the game is being released. Those are your Tech Bites.
Of course, congratulations to the class of 2020, especially during this challenging time.
We would like to recognize a student from Steele High School this morning who has overcome all of her challenges, including getting a heart transplant.
Sarah Costa shares with us what helped Tracy Childress get through her most difficult times.
When I was 9, I started having breathing troubles after we had gone to a water park.
Francie Childress was rushed to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed her with genetic swelling of the heart. Within a year, she received a heart transplant. 8 years later, Francie has beat the odds and is set to graduate from Steele High School. But it hasn't been an easy journey for her.
And after that, I've just had to deal with the constant going to get calves done and checking on that and constantly having to just think mentally about how everybody can get me sick. And it's just a matter of time of who's going to get me sick.
She plans on going to Abilene Christian University and wants to be a veterinarian. She says her animals at home are what motivated her to pull through her transplant.
For a long time I was depressed, and I just found that animals were the thing to keep me going.
She's very resilient. Even through adversity, she's always remained strong.
Francie's high school counselor says it's much more difficult for a student with a transplant to keep up with the schoolwork because of the constant threat of getting sick, but says she has faith that Francie won't let anything stop her from achieving her dreams.
I hope that she makes it. I hope that she gets that dream job.
Francie's advice to anyone going through a difficult time, especially someone who might be struggling through the coronavirus pandemic, she says to find something that motivates you, like her animals helped her pull her through her transplant surgery. For GMSA, I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
And folks, taking a look at the highways, we're still looking pretty good out there as far as the highways are concerned. However, if you can just stay home and stay out of it, that's probably the best thing right now. 35 at Florida is no problem. I-10 at West, or I-10 at 1604, still looking pretty good. But moving out here, 21 Winding Way, that should be the telltale sign. The fact that there's not too many folks out there, and even for a holiday on a Monday, usually we have more people out there than that. Sarah?
Yeah, I think that's good, Marcus, because we are expecting more storms later tonight. This is a look at last night's storms. Look how electrified this system was as it moved through, knocking out power for many people. We'll go ahead and zoom in and focus on between about 8 to 10 p.m. last night. You can see, again, just the sheer amount of lightning here as that storm moved off the Cross Bear County out toward Seguin and toward New Braunfels. Right along the leading edge of this storm here last night, between about 8 to 9, that's where we had those damaging wind gusts, especially northwest of San Antonio toward Helotes, Leon Springs, along the outer loop of 1604 there on the northwestern side. And we continue to see strong wind gusts all the way through to parts of Comal and Guadalupe counties. This is a look at local storm reports. Just south of Helotes there, along 1604 between 151 and I-10, we had some reports of very damaging wind gusts out there, as well as flooding toward downtown San Antonio. This is a look at some of the damage that was done from these wind gusts, potentially up to more than 80 miles per hour. Fences knocked down, and even houses in parts of the Wild Horse subdivision had branches and parts of fences through the siding of the house there. Looking at radar right now, we do have some isolated showers out towards Sabinal and Hondo. We'll continue to see a chance for isolated rain today, but it should generally be quiet during the day part of the day today. It's in the evening that we'll have to watch out for even more storms. It's relatively cool this morning, 65 degrees in San Antonio, 61 in Rock Springs, 61 in Kerrville, and 67 in Del Rio. For your Memorial Day, just know that there is going to be the potential for isolated storms during the day. We'll warm up to 86 degrees, northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. But if there were a time to pay attention to the weather, it's going to be tonight. That's when storms will be likely. Here's a look at the high-res Futurecast. Storms are going to be likely in the late evening to overnight hours. Once again, a line of storms is going to develop. This one from the northwest. We'll be watching that leading edge there for damaging wind gusts, even pockets of isolated hail, and unfortunately the risk for flooding as well, because we received more than 2 inches of rain in many places. Again, that line expected to make it to San Antonio anytime between after 7 p.m. Honestly, this active weather pattern is a little difficult to nail down a timeline, but we can tell you the evening is the best time to pay attention to the weather. By the start of the day tomorrow, all of that rain will be well off to the east. And once again, the storm timeline for you. Look between the hours of 7 p.m. and onward through about midnight for the potential for severe weather and heavy rain, because we've already seen 2 inches of rain in many places, even more in some, and we could expect another additional 2 to 3 inches of rain in some places. In the planning forecast, it's going to be quiet through about Thursday, and then on Friday we'll see more scattered showers and storms. I'll have a look at rainfall totals from last night's storms coming up. Pardon me, David and Leslie.
It's a habit. It just
It's
does
a
that,
habit.
right? Just
It's a
rolls off the
habit.
tongue.
It's all right. It's early. 524, 65 degrees.
Ariana and Lady Gaga teaming up for the first time. Up next in your Spotlight News, a look at their brand new single and the latest in the world's longest running film festival.
Ariana Grande teamed up with Lady Gaga for the weekend's big hit, Rain on Me. The first collaboration between the superstar artists hit YouTube as the weekend began and shot to #1 on the trending chart with nearly 40 million views in less than 48 hours. It seems the coronavirus can't stop the world's longest-running film festival. The governor of Italy's Veneto region says the Venice Film Festival will take place as scheduled September 2nd through the 12th, though likely with fewer films than usual. It would be the first major movie industry event not postponed or canceled since the pandemic hit.
I'm a tycoon, that's why they hate me. So they throw the sheets, I'm going crazy.
The future is now. High Off Life is the 7th album by the rapper Future to top the Billboard 200 album chart. It debuted at #1 with the equivalent of 153,000 units sold, his biggest week ever. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Plus, there's a surge in coronavirus cases as people continue to go out for Memorial Day. Why is unlike any other day? Coming up. Good morning. It is Monday, May 25th.
And Sarah Spivey is running in her tennis. Well, you don't even have tennis shoes on in her wedges.
I'm walking slowly because I want to get in the shot so I can show you guys.
Well, it's busy. I mean, you've got a lot to track again today.
Yeah, we had a lot of storms last night. It was very noisy. If you didn't wake up, you are a heavy sleeper because there were wind gusts potentially greater than 80 miles per hour around the Alamo City. Yes, here's a look at some of the damage sent in through our KSAT Connect feature on our weather app. This is in the subdivision there of Wild Horse. That's on the northwest side of town along 1604. And you can see that that fence was totally knocked down. Now, this is typical of straight line wind gusts. However, in that same subdivision, there were reports of branches and parts of fences lodged into the sides of houses and winds blown out. So very strong winds last night. And guess what? We have the potential for strong storms tonight, to severe storms tonight as well. I promised that we would look at rainfall from last night, and these numbers are doozies, especially the closer to San Antonio you get. In some places, more than 2 inches of rain. Just under 2 inches of rain recorded at the airport at Friedrichs Park on the northwest side, a little bit more than 2 inches, and more than 2 inches at Chavano Park as well, up to 2 at Bernie Stage. 2.5 inches of rain down at Stinson, more than 2.5 out towards Sutherland Springs, and almost 2.5 in Seguin as well. While this has saturated the ground and will likely allow for flash flooding tonight, it is healthy because it has fallen along the aquifer. And that is good news for us as we head into the dry summer months. In fact, we're even seeing some activity on the radar right now. Now, it's not severe. In fact, there's no lightning reported with these heavy downpours that are occurring along Highway 90 right there, pretty much from Savinol all the way out toward Castroville, even up toward Medina Lake. We do have one isolated shower between Lackland Air Force Base and Leon Valley. on the west side of town. This kind of isolated rain is going to be possible during the day today for Memorial Day. We're going to go about 30% chance for isolated showers and storms in the afternoon, a high of 86 degrees and northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. But once again, strong to severe storms are going to be possible late into the evening and potentially the overnight hours. One of the amazing features we have on our weather app is that our meteorologists can go live right to your phone in case you lose power and need storm coverage. That's what happened last night with Adam Caskey. All you need to do is make sure that you allow notifications. I'll have a timeline on those storms for tonight's potential in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and check in on the roads with Officer Marcus Trujillo. Last night we had ponding on the roads and potentially some flash flooding. Are we looking at anything like that?
So far, not yet. We've been very, very fortunate as far as the highways are concerned right now. And the other thing that we're very fortunate about is the light traffic that we have. So 35 at FM 3009, you see not too much going on there. As we move on to some other areas, no problems there. 35 at Schwab Road. Now take a look. This is 410 at Highway 151. You can see considerably less traffic even for a holiday Monday morning. Not too many folks out and about. However, turns and curves, just like you see here, 281 and Hildebrand, some of these roadways could still be slick. So remember, reduce that speed, increase that following distance, and both hands on the wheel. David?
Thank you, sir. Right now, there are about 6,000 people without power. If you are experiencing a power outage as a result of those heavy storms last night, we have a tool available on our website for you right now. You can track your outage using the CPS map. It lets you know the estimated restoration as well as how many people are without power around the city. Just visit KSAT.com and it's on our homepage.
A boil water order remains in effect for the Helotes area this morning. The order caused by a water main break on Friday will continue to be in effect until at least later today. The break happened near Government Canyon State Park and Highway 16 at Bandera Road Ranch Parkway. A SAW spokesperson says crews have repaired the pipe and they're flushing it and a tank that serves the area. Well, 600 addresses are affected under that boil order. If you would like to check whether your home is affected, you can also find this map on KSAT.com.
In your morning headlines, the huge fire that tore through a warehouse in San Francisco has destroyed millions of dollars worth of seafood. About 2/3 of the city's fresh seafood, or $5 million worth, burned in the fire. Thousands of crab, shrimp, and black cod were in that supply, with the Dungeness crab season expected to begin in mid-November. Crab boat owners racing to raise $1 million to buy new gear.
A federal judge has ruled that the Florida law requiring felons to pay legal fees before being able to vote is unconstitutional. The 125-page ruling concerns Florida law to implement a 2016 ballot measure to automatically restore the right to vote for felons who have completed their sentence. The judge says making felons pay legal fees is unconstitutional, especially if they are unable to pay or unable to find out how much they owe.
Meanwhile, it is time to honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country.
With restrictions from coast to coast and some states seeing a spike in coronavirus cases,
this Memorial Day is unlike any other. Manny Gaither has the latest.
It's a tradition that spanned 152 years, honoring those who died in service to this country. The coronavirus can't stop this day, but has changed it, especially in the nation's capital. The National Park Service's open-air memorials are open to visitors, but wreath-laying ceremonies are virtual to avoid attracting large crowds, like the ones seen at beaches over the weekend. Some heeded warnings.
Here, more people are just more accepting of each other and trying to take care of each other, I think.
Others went against the rules. In Daytona Beach, Florida, crowds of more than 5,000 not socially distancing caused concerns. Officers say one group was recording a rap video.
The one thing that is open is the beach. And so when you get this volume of people, it's going to be tough to control until we get other things open or close things off.
Meanwhile, states like North Carolina and Arkansas seeing major coronavirus spikes. High numbers of new cases have also emerged in places like Maryland, Virginia, and in Illinois, as that state is heading toward another phase of reopening.
Just because you haven't felt the impact of the healthcare crisis yet doesn't mean that it's not on the other horizon. So please take this opportunity to protect yourselves and your families and all of us in our communities.
I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
Some people took advantage of the 3-day weekend by spending time along river outfitters. However, places like the Comal River saw countless people, some who weren't following social distancing guidelines. Guidelines put in place earlier this month that include limiting the hours of operation, disinfecting equipment, and limiting the number of people. Coley Reno is the owner of Texas Tubes, which has been along the Comal River for over 20 years. He told us that he and the other river outfitters have worked with the city of New Braunfels to determine the best way to handle reopening. However, he says it's the person's responsibility to look after their own health.
If you don't think it's safe, you need to do what's right for you. And so with us, we try to do our best to make sure people understand, to make sure people are safe. But it ultimately comes down to the individual to take care of themselves.
The New Braunfels police were present at city river parks like the Comal River to reinforce current guidelines.
Your time now 5:39 and it's 65 degrees outside.
Saving lives here in San Antonio just ahead when you can set up an appointment to donate blood this week.
And taking you outside with live cam as we head to break. We are awaiting more storms that are going to come in later on today. Sarah Spivey will have an update.
And welcome back. It is 5:42. The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center hosting a blood drive where donors will be able to enter to win 2 free airline tickets or a gift card up to $100.
That drive is happening today and tomorrow.
It'll take place at the San Antonio Shrine Auditorium from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. today and from 9 to 2 tomorrow afternoon.
All donors who give from May 21st to June 30th are also automatically entered into a drawing for a prepaid 2-year lease on a 2020 red Mustang from Jordan Ford. Donors are required to make an appointment to avoid overcrowding. If you'd like to make an appointment, find out the contest details, go to southtexasblood.org. Pretty cool.
Good deal, yeah. 5:42, 65 degrees.
Places are reopening, including the San Antonio Zoo. Erica Hernandez will have details coming up next.
Hi there, another week, another KSAT Kids News Brief. This week we're talking about schools opening for summer. What are the guidelines, as well as what some people are saying are flying spiders? You heard that right. Let's start first with schools. Texas public schools may offer summer school in their classrooms as early as June 1st, but they cannot require a student to attend in person. The state is encouraging school districts to make on-campus summer school available for their most vulnerable students. Now, we'll have more on this on our KSAT Kids page, including guidance that the Texas Education Agency is providing. Now, as far as youth sports and clubs like Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, they can start to meet, but not in groups larger than 10. Have you heard? San Antonio Zoo and the Witte Museum are set to reopen. The zoo will open May 29th through 31st for a pass holder only weekend, and then starting June 1st, standard admission will be available, but you must buy tickets online and reserve a date and time to visit. The Witte Museum will allow members early access this Wednesday, followed by opening to the general public on May 30th. The museum will operate at a 25% capacity, giving families more than enough space to enjoy the fun and feel safe. Check out these spiders. They may look like they are flying, but according to National Geographic, they are actually doing what's called ballooning. The spider releases a trail of silk that will lift it up and carry it off in the wind. These little guys are harmless and can be spotted around the hill country. That's it for this week. If you want to see more stories, just go to ksat.com/KSATkids, that link right there, and make sure to sign up for our newsletter. Hope you all have a good week.
I miss the zoo.
I know.
I miss the koala cam, too.
Well, I know. We love the koala cam. It's so cute. And I think that idea, what they did, the drive-through for the zoo, it was a big hit.
Yeah, it's nice.
But now you can go. So go.
Hey, pizza can bring a smile to anybody's face, but those smiles mean so much more when they are coming from children who have suffered abuse and neglect.
A local pizzeria served up some smiles to local foster children during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sarah Costa is live at home with this heartwarming story. Good morning, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Good morning, David and Leslie. Pizza can really turn around a mood, right? I know it does for me, and that's exactly what it did for some local foster children. Deco Pizzeria teamed up with Roofs Over Texas to help out Child Advocate San Antonio, or CASA, to donate a special meal for about 350 foster children who have experienced abuse and neglect at the hands of family members. CASA staff picked up pizzas from Deco Pizzeria and delivered them to children in care to give them a little bit of normalcy in the midst of the coronavirus. The owner of Deco Pizzeria says it's important to reach out to vulnerable groups, especially during times like this, to let them know they are not forgotten. He says, what better way than with pizza?
Pizza is a food for all. Doesn't matter the demographic, the age. Everyone loves pizza. As a kid, I love pizza. Obviously, I own a pizzeria, but pizza is my favorite food, right? It's a lot of favorite food for a lot of people. So it just brings happiness. Maybe it's a childhood memory. It's pizza's for everybody.
The dozens of pizza boxes went to feed over 350 children in foster care with CASA. Valenzuela says even though he couldn't see the children, the CASA staff says the children were overwhelmed with excitement, and he says he will definitely do it again. Reporting live from home, Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. David and Leslie.
Thank you, Sarah.
She could be enjoying pizza at home and not know it. We wouldn't know if she was.
We wouldn't know.
Yeah.
We don't even know if she's wearing her pajama pants. We don't know. But we do know what your traffic looks like because we have Marcus here.
And as we take a look at the roadways right now, things still look pretty good out there on the roadways, highways. No problems there, 35, 1604. Starting to see a few more vehicles, but really not a whole lot. And we're hoping that it stays that way. Some of these connector ramps, these exit ramps like the flyover ramps there, could still be slick. You want to use caution on those and reduce your speed. Sarah?
Well, yeah, guys, it's interesting because it is Memorial Day, but we know that a lot of people will be trying to travel, potentially even tonight. And once again, tonight, we're going to have another chance for some strong to severe storms, almost a lot like last night as well. So I know, Marcus, you heard a lot of the wind out where you live.
Yes, and at one point, right at the beginning, opened up the door just to make sure we had everything secure, and you could actually hear a little whistle to the wind right before some of those people experienced what they had around their homes.
Up to potentially 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts. So I do want to go ahead and recap what happened last night, just because tonight's storms are going to have the potential for that as well. And again, these storms are starting to really make their way out to the east. This is the last night's radar. Between the hours of about 7 to 9, that's when we really saw them in San Antonio, even onward into the overnight hours. This is a zoomed in time frame between, again, 7 to about 10 p.m. And any time you see those red boxes, like right there, that was a tornado warning. Now, while we don't have any confirmed tornadoes from last night's storms, what we are seeing is pictures from damaging wind gusts. It's worth noting that it doesn't have to be a tornado to do damage. You can get straight line wind gusts that do potentially more damage than what a weak tornado would do. And this is a look at last night's storm reports. Anywhere you see these downed trees, that's where we had some wind damage reports, some flooding in parts of downtown San Antonio, resulting in water rescues. One of the areas that really saw some damaging wind gusts was on the northwest side of town, just south of Helotes. And this is a picture sent into our KSAT Connect app, where we are looking at a shed that flipped over onto a back patio during the tornado warning that was issued last night around 8:30. So we do have some damage reports. Thankfully, no injuries to report, which is a big blessing considering how fast those storms were going last night. Now, on the radar right now, we are starting to see some showers pop up. No lightning to report at the moment, but some heavy rainfall potentially across parts of Highway 90 from Castroville out to Sabinal and in northern Medina County, just south of Medina Lake. We're seeing some heavy downpours right now on the northwest side of town, right where I showed you those damage reports were. Thankfully, again, no lightning with these. These are just your run-of-the-mill showers currently through downtown San Antonio and moving off to the east. That kind of isolated rain is going to be possible throughout your Memorial Day. It's tonight that we'll see the big show, another round of strong to severe storms. For now, rain cooled air. It's 61 degrees in Helotes, 62 in Comfort, 61 in Kerrville. And in the Futurecast, you'll notice what I was saying about the potential for 1 or 2 isolated storms in the afternoon. Still, it's going to be a mostly cloudy and warm day. You won't have to cancel your Memorial Day plans unless they happen in the late evening. Highs today in the mid to upper 80s just about everywhere you look, and again 30% chance for storms, northeast winds at 5 to 10 tonight. That's when we'll really see an increase in the potential for storms. Low pressure system that brought last night's rain is moving out, but just as it moves out, we're seeing another one take its place. This is going to be the source for our potential for severe weather. The Storm Prediction Center has put a good chunk of Texas, including the entire KSAT 12 viewing area, in a slight risk for severe weather. Our timeline is looking like after 7 p.m. and before the overnight hours for those storms to be possibly severe, with damaging wind gusts and flooding the main concern. We'll be live if we need you to cover those storms, both on air, online, and on our app next week. Scattered rain returns on Friday.
Like the temperatures.
I know.
Don't need the severe weather.
We don't want the severe. We want the rain, just not the severe part of it.
Want that loud stuff at midnight. Wake you out of bed. 5:54 and 65 degrees.
A Kansas man dubbed as the Tequila Fairy. Still ahead how he's helping hospitality industry one bottle at a time.
And how about some lottery numbers?
Okay.
Pick 3207. Fireball is 5, and your daily 4 is 9240. Fireball is 3.
Cash 5 numbers 5, 16, 17, 18. How about that? 23. And your lotto numbers 7, 11, 28, 45, 46, 54. And we also have Powerball from Saturday. They are 2, 8, 18, 21, 23. 16 is the Powerball with a power play of 4.
Welcome back. It's 5:57. One of the industries that has taken the hardest hit from the pandemic is the hospitality industry, and that's why a Kansas man is helping lift spirits in a unique way. They call him the Tequila Fairy. Bryce Lobb, owner of a tequila company, making special doorstep deliveries. Lobb decided he could play a part in pitching in during the pandemic, and he does it one bottle of tequila at a time. And we will be right back. When we come back, it may be hard to tell how much is too much when it comes to skin care. In our next hour of GMSA, we will learn if you are committing some skin sins. And as we go to break, we'll take another look at the roads out there. Since a lot of folks are off for Memorial Day, not a lot of traffic. Matter of fact, well, there you go. There's the traffic right there. 1, 2 cars. Looks pretty good out there. Officer Trujillo will have that for you. It's Sarah Spivey with your weather and with more news coming up next hour of Good Morning San Antonio.
3 people shot here at this apartment complex on the northeast side. I'm Max Matzing. We have the latest details and what police can tell us as of this morning.
Over this time for Memorial Day. I'm Sarah Acosta. Coming up on GMSA, how you can watch.
And taking you outside with live cam. Boy, those were some noisy storms last night. Very powerful, and we could be in for more tonight. Sarah Spivey's in for Mike with details.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning. It is Memorial Day, Monday, May 25th.
Don't forget to take a moment, everybody, today and think about all of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for us. That's what the day is all about.
You know, we saw a shot of the sun coming up a while ago. It'd be interesting to see if people kind of wander out of their house, if there's any more damage out there than what we've been seeing so far at night with that storm coming through.
Oh, hey, we have a dance going on. I know. What's happening here?
We were trying to figure out who's at what place.
I believe we're supposed to go to traffic first today, right?
Oh, he told me wrong. That's okay. I'll trade you. How does that work?
We've got a lot of crazy parts this morning because of the storms and the damage and all of that.
If you could pop up the maps in the storyteller for me.
But right now, so far,
there we go.
There you go.
So the good news, no accidents. Here's the not so good news. We're starting to get, and Sarah's going to expand on this in a minute, starting to get some rain here and there in certain pockets. As you saw a second ago, there are some ponding on the roadways there. I-10 by UTSA, I-10 La Cantera, not too bad there, and I-10 Ralph Road, that's still a construction zone, so watch out for some of that washout coming out. Sarah?
Well, there you go.
There we go.
Hi, Marcus. Yeah, I was telling you that you also may see some lightning on some of those time saver traffic cams, and that's because there are some areas of storms out there right now, but nothing like what we saw last night. Here's a look at some of the pictures sent in through our KSAT Connect app. This is out in Helotes. This is a shed that was turned over by the damaging winds that were ongoing at the time of a tornado warning at 8:30 last night. As of now, we don't have any confirmed tornadoes from last night, but the damaging wind gusts, boy, those will do it for you, even if you don't have any kind of any kind of tornado on the ground. Damaging wind gusts are still will pack a punch. Here's a look at rainfall from last night. In many places, we saw more than 2 inches of rain. Officially, just under 2 inches of rain at the airport, and then out towards Seguin, more than 2.5 inches of rain. Anywhere you see these pockets of oranges or reds, that's the potential for 4 inches of rain in some places. So healthy rainfall, but that has saturated the ground. So any more heavy rain that we get could lead to some flooding issues, but at least it's fallen along the aquifer, which will allow the aquifer level to rise. I mentioned that we are seeing some areas of storms. Notice some storms along Highway 90 there from Savinal to Castroville and all the way up toward Medina Lake as well. Flashes of lightning, heavy downpours, even potentially some very small non-damaging hail in some places. You can see that storm working its way toward Leon Valley and toward Loop 1604 into downtown San Antonio, out toward China Grove as well. Looking toward your Memorial Day, just know that even though we're starting off in the 60s, we are going to warm up into the mid to upper 80s, and on top of that, there is going to be the potential for an isolated storm or two during the day, about 30%. Shouldn't allow you to cancel all of your Memorial Day plans, but tonight we have another round of strong to severe storms in the making, and we have 80% chance for storms after about sunset. So I'll be back with a look at the timeline for the storms tonight and what we can expect in the way of strong to severe weather. David, Leslie?
Thank you, Sarah. Those storms that Sarah was talking about last night caused some serious damage around town.
Meteorologist Justin Horn was tracking the storm in our storm chaser last night and surveyed some of the damage in Palomino Pass.
Scary moments Sunday night as severe storms pummeled the west side of San Antonio.
As soon as we got to our pantry and pulled the door closed, it sounded like an explosion happened.
Sisters Sarah and Sydney Moreno hunkered down in their pantry, scared that a tornado was bearing down on their home.
And then when we finally came out here, when the rain kind of stopped, we saw that our neighbor's house was basically gone.
Emergency crews were quick to the scene and spent the night assessing the damage. It was significant. Parts of roofs were missing, while a fence post could be seen lodged into the side of this home.
We have stuff that doesn't even belong to us in that yard. We have chairs here, some shoes. We have a shoe in our backyard too.
While the Moreno's home seemed to be in good shape, neighbors reported damaged walls and shattered glass, and some were forced out of their homes.
They're moving right now. They're moving all their stuff because their second floor is just flooding right now.
Again, a lot of that damage along a road called Palomino Pass here in the Wild Horse subdivision. There is a lot of damage here, and crews are still assessing that damage, and they'll be doing a lot of cleanup, especially tomorrow when the sun comes up. Thankfully, we're told, at least at the moment, there are no injuries associated with this. Reporting on the west side, Justin Horn, KSAT 12 News.
And we are monitoring power outages across Bexar County. Right now, there are a little more than 2,300 without power. CPS Energy has been working to restore power to everybody, and many more people have power this morning compared to what happened last night.
And while you are out driving, be aware of high water. Bear Flood currently has a map of low water crossings around the county, which ones are open and closed. To check out power outages and areas where there's high water, just go to KSAT.com.
As we speak, police investigating a triple shooting that may have happened on the city's northeast side. Officers responded to the call in the Verdon Apartments just off of North Foster Road. Max Massey now joins us live from that complex. So, Max, what do we know this morning so far?
As of now, we know that this all unfolded just before 2:45 this morning. We know that 3 men were shot, but police here are telling me that they weren't shot here. This is actually where it ended. This is where 911 responded to. Take a look behind me. It's calm and quiet here now. Still the caution tape up, but behind it, we still see those evidence markers and what appears to be another vehicle involved in the shooting. Just moments ago, another vehicle was actually towed away, and it had several bullet holes on the side of it. Now, police say 3 victims, 3 men, were shot. 2 of the victims actually had multiple gunshot wounds. The 3rd shot in the leg. We did see one of the men getting rolled off in a stretcher. Another treated for that gunshot wound to his leg on the scene. As for their conditions, police here are telling me that they all 3 are expected to recover, but right now, a lot of questions left unanswered. Police telling me they are still working, trying to figure out what exactly happened here, what led to that shooting, and who pulled the trigger. David, Leslie.
Thank you very much, Max. Also new this morning, CPS Energy will need to repair some power lines after a car crashed into a utility pole. San Antonio police say it happened around 12:15 this morning on East-South Cross near Pecan Valley. That's on the southeast side near Highland Hills Elementary School. An officer says the driver hit the pole, the car rolled over. She wasn't injured. Police are testing her for driving while intoxicated.
And a homeowner will have a surprise when they return to their home. Firefighters put out a fire in the 9800 block of Prescott this morning. That's near Marbach and South Ellison on the far west side. A battalion chief says that firefighters had to force their way into the house. And fortunately, they didn't find anybody in that home. And there was a fire in the kitchen, though. They were able to put out the fire quickly, but there is damage to the walls that will need to be repaired.
Remember, many city offices and services will be closed in observance of Memorial Day today. Bulky and hazardous waste sites, municipal courts, and the city clerk and community service centers will be closed. However, some services will operate today. Trash and recycling will all be picked up as normal. Police and fire departments will stay on duty, and 311 call center will be open from 8 to 5. Today is also a parking meter holiday. You can see a full list of what's open and closed on KSAT.com.
Weather permitting, San Antonio will get another special flyover today in honor of Memorial Day. This time, World War II airplanes will fly over the Alamo City. Sarah Costa now joins us live from home with how you can watch the flyover. Sarah?
Good morning, David and Leslie. Yeah, there are going to be 4 World War II airplanes flying over San Antonio. That starts at noon, and the flight is going to last for 30 minutes as thanks to the city teaming up with Lewis Air Legends to put on the display. The planes will start near Interstate 10 and Loop 1604, then head to Kelly Field. Then the aircraft will take a full circle from the south side to the east side and then downtown. It will also take 2 rounds above downtown and the Pearl before heading to Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. Those watching are encouraged to practice social distancing. And of course, if you just head to KSAT.com right now, you can see that full flight pattern and all that information where you can watch those planes. Remember, noon today for 30 minutes. Reporting live from home, I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
You can follow them maybe a little easier than you could the Thunderbirds.
They're going to go a little slower, yeah.
Won't be quite as fast.
And hopefully the weather will cooperate.
Yeah.
Sarah will give us an update.
So hopefully so, and it'll be just as impressive as the Thunderbirds.
There, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, it is. It is 6:10 and 66 degrees.
With summer camps closed across the country, some of the fun is going viral. Virtual, not viral. It's going virtual.
Virtually viral.
Virtually viral. Find out more in your GMA First Look.
And with the pandemic, this year's graduating class is facing an unprecedented challenge. Coming up after the break, we'll meet a Steele High School graduate who has shown some real heart during her time in school.
And taking you back outside with live cam. Ooh, take a look at that. The sun's starting to rise over the Alamo City. We'll get an update on your forecast coming up.
Congratulations to the class of 2020, especially during this challenging time.
We would like to recognize a student from Steele High School who has overcome all of her challenges, including getting a heart transplant.
Sarah Costa shares with us what helped Fancy Childress get through her most difficult times.
When I was 9, I started having breathing troubles after we had gone to a water park.
Francie Childress was rushed to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed her with genetic swelling of the heart. Within a year, she received a heart transplant. 8 years later, Francie has beat the odds and is set to graduate from Steele High School. But it hasn't been an easy journey for her.
And after that, I've just had to deal with the constant going to get calves done and checking on that and constantly having to just think mentally about how everybody can get me sick. And it's just a matter of time of who's going to get me sick.
She plans on going to Abilene Christian University and wants to be a veterinarian. She says her animals at home are what motivated her to pull through her transplant.
For a long time I was depressed, and I just found that animals were the thing to keep me going.
She's very resilient. Even through adversity, she's always remained strong.
Francie's high school counselor says it's much more difficult for a student with a transplant to keep up with the schoolwork because of the constant threat of getting sick, but says she has faith that Francie won't let anything stop her from achieving her dreams.
I hope that she makes it. I hope that she gets that dream job.
Francie's advice to anyone going through a difficult time, especially someone who might be struggling through the coronavirus pandemic, she says to find something that motivates you, like her animals helped her pull her through her transplant surgery. For GMSA, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
Love to see kids overcome.
I know. These are great stories. It's a whole series. I think this is the second year we've done it. I love it. And I feel so bad for the 2020 graduates. They've gotten a raw deal on so many things. So here you go. What do you say we check the roadways?
And as we take a look at the map, we're starting to see some slowdowns. The good news is no accidents on the highways, but take a look. This is a 1604 out there, Bandera Road. Notice we have a little bit of yellow. That means they're starting to slow down, which is a good indication that there's something going on out there on the roadways. And here in the downtown area, 35 at Flores, look at all that spray being kicked up by the traffic there northbound and southbound on the upper decks. Remember, folks, both hands on the wheel, reduce that speed, increase that following distance.
Yeah, Marcus, we are starting to see some storms on the radar there, and I'll talk about those storms in a bit, but I do want to recap the really heavy storms that we saw last night.
When was the really worst part of it? What time did it
The worst part of it was between about 8 to 9 p.m. That's when we had damaging wind gusts work their way across the northern section of Bexar County. So here's a look at last night's radar, and you can see a line of storms developed and continued to push eastward, even seeing some rainfall into the early morning hours. I'm zooming into that time frame that Leslie mentioned, between about 8 to 10 p.m. And anytime you see a red box pop up like that and there on the north side of town, that was when we had a tornado warning in effect. Now, while we didn't have any confirmed tornadoes, we do have traces of damage across parts of the northern section of Bexar County from straight line wind gusts. And on the radar, this was potentially seeing gusts of up to 80 to 90 miles per hour. Here's a look at some of those storm reports. Anywhere you see the downed trees there, that's when we had a damaging wind gust report. We also had some very heavy flooding because of more than 2 to 3 to 4 inches of rain that fell, and we had reports of several high water rescues around downtown San Antonio. But the area to really focus on this morning from last night's storms is going to be in the northwest side of town. The Wild Horse subdivision saw significant damage from some storms. This is a look at downed fences there sent in through our KSAT Connect app. We've also had reports from Justin Horn of areas where we were seeing branches and parts of fences through the siding of houses. But for now, as Marcus was mentioning earlier, we are still seeing some lingering thunderstorms working their way from the west to the east. Now, these storms are not nearly as strong as the storms that occurred last night, but we could still see some gusty winds and heavy downpours, as well as flashes of lightning, as you're seeing right now, south of Venice, south of Hondo, and across parts of Medina Lake. Seeing some flashes of lightning as well at the moment. Closer to San Antonio, Leon Valley, flashes of lightning, heavy downpours starting to work its way within 410, just north of downtown San Antonio. In fact, we've been hearing some rain on the rooftop here in the studios of KSAT downtown. Now, that isolated rain is going to be possible throughout the day, but we're cool right now this morning because of rain-cooled air. 60s generally, and taking a look at the Futurecast, you can see that we will have another chance for isolated storms in the afternoon. We're going to call it about a 30% chance for storms during the day this Memorial Day. However, In the evening, we have another shot at some strong to severe storms. Highs will be in the mid to upper 80s today for your Memorial Day, so don't cancel your outdoor plans during the day. Just be aware of the weather for those pop-up storms. However, tonight you will want to avoid the roads. You will want to stay inside because we are once again going to have a shot at some strong to potentially even severe weather. That low pressure system that brought us last night's storms is moving off to the east. We've got another one replacing it, and this is what's going to give us the chance for severe weather tonight. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center issued a slight risk for damaging wind gusts, and the potential for some flooding as well. The best time frame for us is going to be after 7 p.m. and before the overnight hours. We will make sure to keep you informed online, on air, and on our weather app. Throughout the week, however, we're going to enjoy a break from the rain generally through Thursday before scattered showers and thunderstorms return Friday.
It was pretty wild last night.
I know. Here we go again.
Yeah, so it was like you were talking about the worst of it last night? 8:30, 9:45, then again at 11, and then at 1.
Gosh, it was a lot.
That's how many times blew me out of bed. Are you kidding me?
Is that why? I know. Is that why I'm sleepy this morning? Because
That's
up by Mother Nature.
You what? She wouldn't let me go to sleep.
Poor David.
I know. It may be hard to tell how much is too much when it comes to skincare. After the break, we will learn if you are committing some skin sins.
Here's your secret word of the day. Enter it on KSAT.com/Circle K for a monthly chance to win free gas for a year. Every entry wins a Polar Pop. We are Circle K.
It's starting to happen every day. People are surprising themselves the moment they realize they can do more with less asthma. Thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Don't use if allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur, including anaphylaxis, which is severe. Tell your doctor right away about signs of inflamed blood vessels such as rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection and before stopping any asthma medicines, including oral steroids. Do more with less asthma. Talk to your doctor about Dupixent.
In this morning's GMA First Look, call it the Etsy economy.
I didn't think people would be spending money and shopping this way during the pandemic, but I just didn't think about the fact that food is comfort. So right now people want biscuits.
Suzanne McMinn is one of the many sellers on Etsy whose business is booming. The website has become a lifeline for small business, and this morning we're going one-on-one with Etsy CEO Josh Silverman.
Josh, what have you seen on Etsy since the pandemic began?
You know, there's really been an explosion of demand on Etsy. It's such a great opportunity for small bakeries who've been so hard hit by the crisis to move on to Etsy and then find buyers.
So how can you take a side hobby and turn it into an Etsy side hustle? We'll have much more of our interview coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
It's a never-ending battle. Wash, rinse, moisturize, repeat. But are you doing more harm than good? First, ditch the face wipes. While convenient, they tend to smear dirt and excess makeup rather than remove it. Opt for a foaming facial cleanser with retinol to banish wrinkles, hyaluronic acid, to hydrate dry skin, peptides. For firm skin, vitamin C, and for a gorgeous glow, ceramides. If the product does not contain barrier repair properties like fatty acids, cholesterol, and ceramides, it may trigger a cycle of deteriorating skin, causing inflammation. Be smart with your nightly cleanse. Look for products that help renew and repair. Search for anti-inflammatory ingredients such as licorice extract, green tea, or turmeric, among others. Finally, sunscreen is vital. Use one with an SPF of 30 or higher, and do not rely on products like foundation or lipstick that boast SPF protection. Experts say if you do use multiple skin products and you like to experiment with new ones, stop switching your products out so quickly. It takes an entire month to see a change, so give yourself 3 months. Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News.
Your time now 6:27, 66 degrees outside.
We are still learning the extent of the damage last night's storms caused. We will see if there is any more severe weather we can expect later today. Got a hint? Probably so.
And here's a look at the Frost Tower downtown, all lit up in red, white, and blue. Of course, it's in honor of Memorial Day. We'll have more what to expect on this holiday in our next half hour.
Pizza puts everyone in a good mood. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. Coming up on GMSA, how one local pizzeria cheered up area foster kids.
All states have now eased some form of social distancing restrictions, even as experts warn of a possible second wave. I'm Inez de la Cuetara in Washington, and I'll have all the details coming up.
And a live look outside with live cam. We'd like to say it's calm right now, but there's some thunderstorms around San Antonio after the big one we had last night rolled through. Will we get another one tonight? Sarah Spivey's got us updated coming up.
Well, this is when it's going to start getting a little busy, if it's going to start getting busy, but maybe not because it's a holiday.
Maybe not, and it seems to be working in our favor, the fewer vehicles out there on the roadway, especially with some additional rain popping up here and there. But right now, we're very fortunate, no accidents on highways. We've had a couple of little incidents, and officers have been able to move everything off to the side. So right now, nothing on the highways that should slow you down other than the rain.
Yeah, and there are some areas of showers and storms, like you were saying, David, out there. But this was the picture last night. This is sent in through our KSAT Connect app. This is actually from Justin Horn, who was out chasing last night's storms. This is in the Wild Horse subdivision, just in the northwestern side of Bexar County. You can see some damage that was done here. You can see a fence post in the siding of one of the houses there, and a fence knocked down. This was the area that had that tornado warning and the potential for damaging wind gusts of more than 80 miles per hour. Thankfully, this storm has passed, but we have another round of storms expected late tonight. For now, we are still seeing some pop-up showers and storms left behind from yesterday's activity. These are not severe storms. I want to stress that. Instead, these are downpours with some areas of lightning, just some downpours going along Highway 90 now, but near Medina Lake, some flashes of lightning and heavy rain as well. I also can't rule out some very small, less than pea-sized hail with some of these, but that's not going to do any damage. Near San Antonio, you can see a flash of lightning just ongoing right now around Leon Valley and in downtown San Antonio. This is adding on top of the over 2 to 3 inches of rain that we saw in the area last night from last night's storms. Thanks to the rain, we're enjoying some rain-cooled air, too. It's 66 degrees in San Antonio, 61 in Rock Springs, 61 in Kerrville, 64 in Carrizo Springs. And for your Memorial Day, isolated storms are going to be possible during the day. Not enough to cancel your outdoor plans completely, but we will have to watch out to see what the plans are for that flyover around noon. We'll keep an eye on that, of course, for you. A high temperature today in the mid to upper 80s, but tonight, that's when the action really starts to heat up. In your storm timeline, we'll be watching for the weather, particularly after 7 p.m. for another round of possibly severe storms with the risk for flooding. I've got to look at how much additional rain we could see from tonight's storms coming up in a few minutes. For now, though, any issues on the roads with water?
So far, we're looking pretty good. Now, we are seeing some areas, especially here in the downtown area on the upper decks, where we're seeing some ponding of the roadway because it came down so quickly. However, hopefully that'll move off the roadway and make things safer once again. Now, 10 at 1604, you can see east and westbound lanes, very few vehicles out there on the roadway. Here in the downtown area, we had a little bit more traffic with some rooster tails being kicked up by those vehicles. So just remember, reduce that speed, increase that following distance, and please put away those distractions, those cell phones and those coffee cups. Leslie?
All right, thank you very much. Well, more people around Bexar County getting their power turned back on. Right now, CPS Energy is reporting about 2,200 customers are without power, but that's down from 6,000 when we went on the air this morning.
And while you are driving, be aware of high water. Bear Flood currently has a map of low water crossings around the county and which ones are open and closed. To check on power outages and areas where there is high water, just head over to KSAT.com. You can also stay updated with the KSAT weather app and traffic push alerts.
The boil water advisory in Helotes is expected to be lifted today once test results confirm it is safe to drink. The advisory started Friday afternoon when a water main broke near Government Canyon and Highway 16. Water shot more than 100 feet into the air when it broke. SAWS says that it was caused by a contractor using a power tool. We do have a map on our website that shows all the neighborhoods affected by the boil water advisory.
Mayor Ron Nirenberg and Judge Nelson Wolff will not be holding their evening coronavirus briefing today. They are taking the day off in observance of Memorial Day. There are also numerous city services and offices that are closed today, and you can find a full list on our website, KSAT.com.
The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center is holding a blood drive today and tomorrow at the San Antonio Shrine Auditorium. That's on Loop 1604 near Blanco. It runs from 9 this morning until 5 this afternoon. It'll be open from 9 to 2 tomorrow. You are required to make an appointment to give blood. If you do, you'll be entered to win in a drawing to win 2 free airline tickets and a $100 gift card. You will also get an HEB gift card for donating. The center says it needs 500 donors a day to keep up with the current demands.
And some people took advantage of their 3-day weekend by spending some time along the rivers around our area. However, places like the Comal River saw countless people, some who were not following social distancing guidelines. Guidelines were put in place earlier this month, which include limiting the hours of operation, disinfecting equipment, and limiting the number of people. Coley Reno, the owner of Texas Tubes, which has been along the Comal River for over 20 years, told us that he and other river outfitters have worked with the city of New Braunfels to determine the best way of handling reopening. However, he said it is a person's responsibility to look after their own health.
If you don't think it's safe, you need to do what's right for you. And so with us, we try to do our best to make sure people understand, to make sure people are safe. But it ultimately comes down to the individual to take care of themselves.
The New Braunfels police were present at city water parks like the Comal River to reinforce guidelines. And there are new concerns this Memorial Day weekend about social distancing as the number of deaths reported in the United States reaches 100,000.
Across the country, people have been swarming beaches and pools and churches, with some states seeing an increase in the number of new COVID-19 cases. ABC's Inez de la Cuartera has more.
Good morning. All states have now eased some form of social distancing restrictions, even as experts warn of a possible second wave. Overnight, new images of crowds coming out in droves for the holiday weekend, but many not following social distancing guidelines. In Southern California, a popular hiking trail forced to close after large crowds showed up. In Ocean City, Maryland, thousands flocked to the boardwalk, some without masks. At the Jersey Shore, business owners happy to reopen.
It's insane on how many people are out here today. Yeah. I didn't expect this at all.
Aerial images from Florida showing people swarming Daytona Beach, police referring to the scene as a gauntlet.
This type of behavior is unacceptable. We don't want people coming to our city, disrupting our city.
Many places of worship also reopening for the first time this Sunday. Congregants sitting apart at this church in Alabama.
I talked with my deacons, and they agreed that we felt like that we could do this safely, and that it was a good and it was the right thing to do.
With all 50 states now easing some form of social distancing restrictions, at least 8 are seeing an increase in new reported cases. And New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing professional sports teams can return to their facilities for training. This as Major League Baseball, the NBA, and NHL continue discussions with their players' unions about resuming their seasons. Inez de la Cuartera, ABC News, Washington.
638, 66 degrees.
Free pizza is a sure way to feel better. After the break, we're going to hear about a local pizzeria that's donated a bunch of pizza pies to foster children.
Hi there, another week, another KSAT Kids News Brief. This week we're talking about schools opening for summer. What are the guidelines, as well as what some people are saying are flying spiders You heard that right. Let's start first with schools. Texas public schools may offer summer school in their classrooms as early as June 1st, but they cannot require a student to attend in person. The state is encouraging school districts to make on-campus summer school available for their most vulnerable students. Now, we'll have more on this on our KSAT Kids page, including guidance that the Texas Education Agency is providing. Now, as far as youth sports and clubs like Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, they can start to meet, but not in groups larger than 10. Have you heard? San Antonio Zoo and the Witte Museum are set to reopen. The zoo will open May 29th through 31st for a pass holder only weekend, and then starting June 1st, standard admission will be available, but you must buy tickets online and reserve a date and time to visit. The Witte Museum will allow members early access this Wednesday, followed by opening to the general public on May 30th. The museum will operate at a 25% capacity, giving families more than enough space to enjoy the fun and feel safe. Check out these spiders. They may look like they are flying, but according to National Geographic, they are actually doing what's called ballooning. The spider releases a trail of silk that will lift it up and carry it off in the wind. These little guys are harmless and can be spotted around the hill country. That's it for this week. If you want to see more stories, just go to ksat.com/KSATkids, that link right there, and make sure to sign up for our newsletter. Hope you all have a good week.
Free pizza. Ooh, that can lift just about anybody's spirits.
That's why our local pizzeria donated lots of it to San Antonio foster children during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sarah Costa joins us live with this story. Do you have any with you this morning? Like some breakfast pizza, maybe?
I hear
Oh, I wish I had. Cold pizza is the best thing for breakfast. It has to be cold. No, I didn't have any this morning, but some kids got really lucky and they had some last week thanks to some local donors, because the pandemic can be a scary thing, right, for children. But can you imagine for children who have been abused and neglected and are in the foster care system? It's why Deco Pizzeria and Roofs Over Texas teamed up to help out Child Advocate San Antonio, or CASA, to donate a special meal for about 350 foster children who've experienced abuse and neglect at the hands of family members. CASA staff picked up pizzas from Deco Pizzeria, delivered them to children in care to give them a little bit of normalcy in the midst of the coronavirus. The owner of Deco Pizzeria says it felt good knowing he and Roofs Over Texas brought a spark of joy to these kids that have gone through so much.
It brought tears to my eyes and makes me feel really good. And that's why Roof Over Texas, Amir was like, Jacob, we have to do something special. Nonprofits, they're not getting funding. Maybe donations are minimized because of financial situations big corporations are put in. So we're all feeling it. So it's ever so important to reach out to those nonprofit organizations.
Valenzuela says he couldn't see the children or receive pictures because of protective orders, but that the organizers of CASA told them that the kids were very excited, and he told me that he would definitely do it again just because of that joy that he got knowing that the kids were excited at that moment in time when they got that free pizza. Reporting live from home, Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News. David and Leslie.
I bet that was pretty exciting.
That's so sweet. I love all these wonderful things people are doing for each other.
Did you hear birds?
I heard birds in the background. There was some chirping going on.
At Sarah's house?
I don't know if they're outside her window or if they are in her house. I don't know. We'll have to investigate that further. Call Dylan Collier right now. Let's do an investigation.
Well, right now on the roadways, things seem to be progressing along fairly well, despite what you see here in this TransGuide camera. This is 281 in Hildebrand, and pay attention, folks. Those turns and curves, you want to slow down well ahead of those areas, and it's coming down pretty good here. Both the north and the southbound lanes of 281 right there at Hildebrand having to slow down for that curve. That truck with that trailer going just a little bit too fast. You want to slow down a little bit more than that. Now, 281 at Winding Way, looking back up towards 1604. So far, not too bad there, and 281 in Tacoma looking pretty good. As we look at Highway 151 at 410, there you can see the traffic's not too bad, but here in the downtown vicinity, right there, 35 at Flores, we definitely have the rain coming down. Just remember, put away those distractions, those cell phones, those coffee cups, both hands on the wheel.
This is going to be something we're dealing with today, and then this afternoon is when it could start getting a little dicey?
The evening actually is
Late
when
tonight?
it's really, the late tonight is when it's going to get dicey. You know, last night's storms were a doozy. We were wide awake as the storms rolled through, producing damaging wind gusts. And I actually want to show you last night's storms there because, you know, we could see something similar tonight as well. Look how electrified that storm system was. Again, this is a radar rewind of last night. Those storms very highly electrified. We had a lot of power outages, and they continued to work their way through San Antonio. We saw even some tornado warnings in the area between the hours of 8 to 10 p.m. And it was right along the leading edge of that line that we saw the potentially damaging wind gusts of up to 80 to 90 miles per hour. Now, even though we had tornado warnings in effect, it should be noted that there are no confirmed tornadoes from last night. But honestly, a damaging wind gust of 80 to 90 miles per hour will sometimes do more damage than a quote-unquote tornado. So what we'll be looking for tonight is along the leading edge of those storms, the potential for damaging wind gusts. And because more than 2 to 4 inches of rain fell in some places, we'll also have to look out for flooding. This was a picture of those storms on the northwest side of Bexar County, sent in through our KSAT Connect feature on our app. Homes from the Wild Horse subdivision on their Facebook page there. You can see that fence downed, and we even had reports of parts of fences lodged into the sides of homes. That would be indicative of a little bit of circulation. So we'll let you know if there are any confirmed tornadoes from last night. But for now, we've just got your run-of-the-mill thunderstorms left over from last night's storms. Flashes of lightning toward Medina Lake, toward Castroville and Hondo at the moment. There may be some very small pea-sized hail within these isolated storms, but generally these are moving off to the east and will be out of here probably by the mid-morning hours. It's after the mid-morning hours that we'll continue to see a chance for isolated rain throughout your Memorial Day. But like I said earlier, tonight we have another potential for some strong to severe storms. Rain cooled air in the area behind last night's rain. 66 degrees in San Antonio, 61 in Kerrville, 61 in Rock Springs, and 67 in Del Rio. Just to summarize your Memorial Day, isolated storms during the day. Don't cancel your outdoor plans just yet, but keep your KSAT Weather Authority app handy. If you have very late night plans, though, I would go ahead and just stay inside and away from the roads, because once again, storms will be likely late this evening. Here's one of the Futurecast models showing a line of storms developing late in the evening out across the Edwards Plateau and Hill Country, pushing towards San Antonio by the late evening overnight hours. We'll be watching that leading edge for damaging wind gusts, and of course with an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain possible in some places, flooding is going to be a major concern as well. Just to solidify things for you, after 7 p.m., pay attention to the weather, possibly severe storms and heavy rain. That's going to be the best chance for storms. By about 3 a.m., those storms will be moving off to the east, and avoid roads tonight because, like I said, additionally 2 to 3 inches of rain could fall in more places. I know that Memorial Day, especially in the evening, is a travel day. Just avoid it tonight. Wait until tomorrow morning if you can. Looking ahead to the rest of the forecast, we're going to see a break from the rain generally through Thursday, but scattered storms return on Friday.
Thank you, Tara.
So if you slept through last night, stay awake tonight. You might see what you missed last night.
Yeah, or if you can sleep through this one too, good for you.
I don't know how you do that. 651, 66 degrees.
More older people are turning to marijuana to ease their aches and pains. Join us tomorrow on GMSA. We're going to go over the risks you should know about.
And another shot outside with live cam. It's raining around, so look at that. You can see some right there pouring down. We'll be back.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, the new concern as Americans celebrate Memorial Day. Crowded beaches and parks, many disregarding social distancing. 8 states are still reporting increases in new cases, and the coronavirus death toll is nearing 100,000 in the U.S. We're going to track the latest on all of this coming up right here on GMA.
And we have no accidents on the highways at this time. However, we do have rain coming down, so turns and curves, just like you see here, 221 Hildebrand. Make sure you slow down well ahead of those areas. Sarah?
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, we are still seeing areas of rain, lingering storms around San Antonio, but these are not severe, just a little noisy across areas near Medina Lake and downtown San Antonio as well. Heavy rainfall possible. It's sporadic, though, and really only pop up. We'll be seeing these move off by the middle of the morning. And then as we head into the rest of Memorial Day, temperatures warming up from the 60s into the mid to upper 80s with a possibility for isolated storms during the daytime. But tonight, storms are likely. And in fact, we could see more severe weather with damaging wind gusts and flooding possible. You can keep up to date with us online, on air, and on the KSAT Weather Authority app. It's going to be a pretty mild week, though, with highs in the 80s.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you so much for being with us, everybody.
See you back here at 9. Good Morning America is next.